Are you feeling a little overwhelmed with holiday fun and holiday obligations and like your entire business to run during the month of December? If so, you are not alone. This week, we're going to talk about keeping your sanity and having as much fun as possible while keeping your business going. And one of the major steps to doing that is letting go of expectations, recognizing expectations and letting go of them. So whether you are listening to this in the holiday season or you're listening to it some other time, this is going to be applicable for wherever you are in your business. Welcome to Explore Your Enthusiasm, episode 237 with me, Tara Swiger. Over on my site, taraswiger.com, we as a community have been talking about staying sane during the holiday season ever since I started talking to you guys back in 2009. And I created a holiday sanity guide back in 2010. And we've just talked about it every year since. That was the first kind of guide and e-course I did that had a community component, a conversational component. And it comes up every year since then because you guys, a season can be hard. You've got family responsibilities, you've got more business responsibilities, especially if you're doing craft shows or you're doing like order by December 21st to get it by Christmas. Maybe you're doing extra special holiday specials. And on top of that, expectations of how it should all go. So I want to talk to you about expectations today, how to handle your own expectations while meeting your responsibilities so that you can have a good, happy, enthusiastic holiday season. And if you're new here, or if you're just really feeling stressed this holiday season, you can check out all the past episodes and posts, blog posts, because I used to write blog posts, over in a definitive holiday sanity guide where I've collected up all the links to all the past stuff, and you'll find it at the show notes, taraswiger.com/podcast 237. You can also find the audio, the video recording, my written notes, and if you scroll down, you'll find the links to everything in a definitive holiday sanity guide. So first up, you got to acknowledge what is making the season hard. That is responsibilities and expectations. On top of that, I want to mention what also might be making the holiday season hard is, and this ties in with expectations, but like grieving and missing people who were in your life before and aren't this holiday season. All the memories of past holiday seasons tend to infect this one as well, both in good ways, like remembering holiday traditions, and in sad ways, missing people who aren't with us anymore. So when it comes to making your holiday season great, acknowledge that grieving is going to be part of it. Missing people is very likely going to be part of it, and that's okay. This comes back to your expectations about the season. So sometimes we confuse these two. We confuse responsibilities and expectations, or we agree to some unstated expectations without really deciding if that's right for us and our holiday season and our lives or not. So for this discussion, we're going to just define responsibilities as those things you really do need to do or that you owe someone. So it may be that you've promised to see your family every year at this time. That's a responsibility that you've taken on. Or you promised that you would deliver your products by a certain day to a shop or to your clients or your customers. So you also have a responsibility to your business to show up in the way that you promised you'd show up. So whether that's delivering on an order in your normal timeline or it's publishing your podcast each week. So take a minute and write down your responsibilities right now. What are the responsibilities you have in your business? What are the responsibilities you have in your life? Write those down. Get them out of your head and onto a piece of paper so you can see what you're dealing with. Now, the holiday season comes with those responsibilities, but it also comes with all these expectations about what you'll do and also how you want to feel. And it's really important to realize we have stated expectations, like I want it to go like this, but we often, we always have unstated expectations. And we have these expectations both of ourselves and for others, and other people have expectations of us. Now, all of this you might be like, yeah, I realize that, Tara, but have you looked at how these expectations are shaping your holiday season or your life or your business? So we have expectations that are stated and unstated about ourselves and others, also about actions and about feelings, like I'm going to do this thing and then I'm going to feel this way, or I'm going to feel this way and then I'm going to do this thing. This is huge in working in your business. So much of what makes us upset or unhappy about working in our business is our expectations about how we thought we would feel. So, for example, maybe you expect that you're going to make 1,000,000 cookies this holiday season, or maybe your kids have the expectations of you that you'll make 1,000,000 cookies, or maybe you have an expectation that you will just get to sit and enjoy the light of the menorah or the light of the Christmas tree. Now, often when I'm talking to someone about why they're stressed or why they're not enjoying their season or why they're unhappy in their business, it's not because of what they have to do, which is the responsibilities. Oftentimes we like our responsibilities. We signed up for our responsibilities. But what's making them unhappy is because of how they thought they'd feel, their expectations around it. Or they're feeling the expectations of other people and they're not knowing how to handle that, or they're feeling overwhelmed by that. So the question is, how do you deal with this? How do you live in this world with all these expectations and still enjoy your holiday season? My number one piece of advice, if you take nothing else from this episode, I want it to be this: make everything explicit. Make your responsibilities explicit and make your expectations explicit. So I want you to take a break from the podcast right now, unless you're driving, and then do it when you can do it safely, and write down all of your expectations of the season you're in right now. So if you're listening to this when it came out, that's the holiday season. If you're listening to it 6 months from now, it's the summer or winter if you're in Australia. So write down all the expectations. And you can do this any time of year, especially if you're doing something very exciting in your business. So if you're about to do your first ever craft show, or you're about to be in your first ever, have your first ever wholesale accounts and see your stuff in shops, or you're getting your pattern published for the first time ever, write down those expectations. Write down, what do you hope to do? What do you hope to get done? What do you hope to accomplish? Where do you expect to go? And how do you hope to feel? If you're often we do something because we want to feel a certain way. So what is the feeling? Make explicit the feeling you're hoping to feel. So maybe you don't have to take the action to get that feeling. You can just have that feeling in an easier way. And then, and this is important, I want you, in the next 24 to 48 hours, meet with your loved ones and ask them what they expect of this season. Now, if this is just something you're doing in your business, like you're about to do your first craft show or you just got your first pattern published, maybe the expectations are just your own. But if it's something you're creating together, like a holiday season, it involves your family, right? So ask them what they expect of the season and what they expect of you. This meeting can be as formal or as informal as you like. You can do it around the dinner table tonight, or you can call each of your sisters or your parents and ask them. One way to frame it, one way to say it to them is, I would love to make this season wonderful for all of us. I would really love to know, what are your expectations or hopes for this season? What matters most to you in this? It's something actually me and my mom do pretty often. If we are planning something, I'll say to her, what do you most want to get out of this? Sometimes it's like, well, I most just want to have girl time and talk with you, like when I'm going to see her for a weekend. Okay, then we should send Jay and my little brothers to go do something together. Or she'll say, I want the whole family together in one place. Okay, then we should make sure we don't plan to go see a movie with my little brothers when we're there, but we all sit down around the table together. That is going to help keep from having these feelings where one person thought they were getting one thing and somebody else thought they were getting another, and you feel like, well, geez, I'm doing this for you and nobody's happy. Right? How many of us have felt that when we feel like we're trying to meet someone's expectation, but it's actually not the right one? Now, big warning around this. Before you go call up people and ask them what they want from you, be sure you're only soliciting the expectations of the people you really desire to fulfill expectations of. So if you have somebody in your life that is never happy with anything you do, don't go asking them what their expectations of you are unless you want to make that part of fulfilling your own holiday season. So we all know people in our life that no matter what they ask for, no matter what we did, we just feel like we can't make them happy, or they just always want something else. I would recommend not soliciting those opinions. And you want to just solicit the opinions of the people you most want to fulfill. So for some of you, that's going to be your kids. For some of you, that's going to be your partners. For some of you, that's going to be your best friend. You just want to not even make them happy. You just want to see if you guys' expectations for the season can be lined up. Because this is something really important. Your job is not to make them happy. Your job is to make explicit their implicit expectations, so then you can decide what to do with those expectations. It's not that you're agreeing to do them for sure. So this is the really important next step, is you get to decide what expectations to take on. You get to agree with your immediate family or your friend group what expectations you'll meet and which ones they'll meet and which ones you're just not going to meet. And if you have an explicit conversation about this, this can make this so much better. So if what Jay wants is, this is actually not something he ever wants. My expectation about the holiday season is that we'll have like a really good holiday meal like my mom used to make. So, like a centerpiece and then like 4 sides. That's not his expectation, right? If it was and I didn't want to do it, I would just tell him, I don't want to do that. So actually, because it's my expectation and it's something he doesn't care about, I do most of that, and I ask him to make the dishes I want him to make. Like, he makes a really good mushroom gravy to go on the mashed potatoes, but I know it's not something that matters as much to him, and it matters a lot to me, so I fulfill the expectation for myself, as opposed to just hoping he'll get on board and do it. Now, for example, maybe your kids want 1 billion cookies, but you don't want it to bake. So your partner agrees to do some cookie baking, or you reach out to another family member who would love to spend time with your kids and do that baking with them. Like, cookie baking with kids is a thing I love to do. So you all just call me and send your kids over here. I'll bake cookies with them. Auntie Tara will take care of them. Maybe your neighbor also has kids and they're going to bake cookies together. Send your cookies over there, your kids over there to do some baking with them. So you can hear people's expectations and decide you're not the person to meet them and help them hook up with the right person who is, right? You can also look at your own expectations that you have of other people and decide, I can meet those for myself, or if they don't want to meet them, and together we'll line up what matters most to us and we'll come to some kind of explicit agreement about who's going to be doing what. Now, maybe you have expectations, and this is one that a friend of mine has, that like there's beautifully wrapped gifts under the tree. The tree is perfectly decorated. There's beautifully wrapped gifts under it. The question is, who's going to do that? So are you going to wrap them all? Are you going to decorate the tree? Do you want to ask for help? Could you maybe lower your expectations about beauty and let your 5-year-old like finger paint the wrapping paper and wrap them up himself? I mean, with a little guidance. Are there expectations you're willing to lower in order to have more fun? Now, the examples I'm giving here are all lighthearted, but I know the season can come with some heavy, heavy feelings of obligation and some heavy expectations, like lifetime patterns of expectations that we are sick of or that just overwhelm us. So that's why I'm suggesting that first you make everything explicit. And if you think someone else has an expectation of you, you make that explicit too. You ask them, is this your expectation? Now, again, this is going to be with people that you're comfortable talking openly with and that you feel like you have a good relationship with. By the way, this exercise will improve your relationship. When you ask a person what they most want to get out of a situation, it helps you both work together to make that happen, even if you're totally surprised by it. So you first make everything explicit, then you spend the time to decide what expectation you want to meet and what you don't want to meet. And I've got 3 principles for helping you sort through that process. So the first is to focus on what matters to you. What makes the season wonderful to you? What drives you crazy about it? Filter all the expectations that are coming at you from everybody in your life and your own through the values you most care about. I want you to even look back at your responsibilities. I had you list earlier. Are some of them just actually expectations? Like, they're not something you definitely need to do for somebody else. They're just something you think they expect you to do for them. Can you let some of those go? Maybe you just take a week or 2 off of your business obligations and you just like don't post on Instagram or you don't post on your podcast because you're going to take a week off. Now, I've done that in the past, but don't worry, this year I'm not doing that because the Starship is actually going to be open over the holiday week. So I'm not going anywhere, friends, but you can do that. You can step away at any time that you want to. You can let go of some of those responsibilities. You can let go of some of the expectations. If people have always expected you to bring, an example from Jay's family, there's one aunt that makes amazing pumpkin pies, and now all of the cousins are older and want their own pumpkin pie to take home with them. So Aunt Becky makes like 10 to 12 pumpkin pies. If that did not make her happy, she should let go of that expectation. Somebody else would make pumpkin pies, or we would all cry and go home and make our own pumpkin pies, but it would be fine. So filter what matters to you. The better you get at filtering these things out, the happier your season and your life will be. This is true in so many different areas. So this, like, making expectations explicit and then focusing on what matters to you, is going to help you build every area of your business, because there is so much BS out there that you think you have to do or that's expected of you that you just can filter through your own values and decide not to do. So the second step after you filter through your own values is to let go without guilt. So once you've got your list of what matters to you, you got to really actually let go of everything else. And I'm serious, like, you just let it go, sing the song from Frozen, like, throw things out, do whatever you need to do to really let go. Maybe have conversations with your kids or your partner or your parents and say, this is what we've done in the past and this isn't what I want to do this year. An example from my own life is, in the past we have gone to 2 Thanksgivings, and we go, because my little brothers are much younger than me, I've always gone to spend Christmas with my mom and them. Not Christmas Day, but usually the weekend before Christmas or the weekend after Christmas, we'll go and spend with them because they were little. Well, now they're old. They're 18 and 19, and I'm the one having small children. So I told my mom, this year, I don't want to go and travel to see you and the boys. I want you and the boys to travel and come see me. Now, she can fully say that's an expectation I don't want to meet, or I can't meet because of my work schedule, or the boys can decide they can't meet it because of their college and their work schedules, but I was explicit about what I won't be doing. But I let them know what I still value is seeing you and being with you at this time of year, and I'd like to open my home for you to come to my home. Or an Airbnb is what I suggested. They're going to stay more than a night. So that's another thing, right? Is I just let go of the idea that I'm going to be able to keep 3 more adults in my tiny house along with the babies that we'll have. This is just an expectation I don't want to fulfill. So, and I started looking at local Airbnbs that are inexpensive or hotel rooms. And then I'm going to be explicit about what I'll be cooking and what I won't be cooking, right? So that's what I mean by letting it go and being explicit about what you're letting go. You don't have to tell everybody, like, if you have a mother-in-law that's not going to be happy whatever you do, you don't have to tell her what you won't be doing. Just do what you will do. You decide to let it go. No guilt. So will you disappoint some people? Yes. That is okay, though. That is a part of life. It is not your job to never disappoint anyone. That's ridiculous, right? And you know that. It's not good for anyone for you to fulfill their absolute every need, because disappointment is a part of life, and it's how we build resilience and we build grit. So it's your job to do your best at what you can do, and it's your job for you to be at your best. And you can only do your best and be your best if you are taken care of. It's just like you wouldn't expect your kid to be able to get a good grade in school if they hadn't slept or eaten. Right? They have to take care of their own little body before they go to school and they do their job of being a good student. The same thing is true of you as a business owner this holiday season. You'll only be able to do your best in your life and your business if you are taken care of. And that means letting go of expectations that aren't serving you. Now, at this point, I'm going to remind you, when we're talking about people being disappointed, of one of the first holiday-related videos I ever recorded. I'm going to link it up in the show notes. And the message of that video is that people's feelings and expectations are not about you. It's about them. What people say to you or what they expect of you tells you, communicates what they care about and who they are. It has nothing to do with you and who you are. And this is hard because people point it at us. They say that it's about us, but it's about them. So if someone doesn't approve of you being self-employed, that is telling you that they would not be happy being self-employed. Maybe they don't like risk. It has nothing to do with you and what you're doing, because how they feel about self-employment has nothing to do with you. It's just not applicable. So whenever people are pointing their expectations or their disappointments at you, remember that it's communicating what they care about. It's communicating their values. Their values don't have anything to do with you. So I kind of, my friend Leonie talks about it as like, you can have emotions, but you can't splash them out at other people. Sometimes when people point their expectations at you, it feels like they're shooting their fountain of emotions at you. And yet you got to remember it's still their emotions. It's not yours. Just because it's hitting you and getting you wet, it didn't make it your emotions from your own inner fountain of feelings and beliefs and values. I hope that metaphor holds up. Now, the third step is to remember there is always more time, unless there isn't. So here's the thing. If you look at your goals, your dreams, your plans, and you think you don't have to get it done by December 31st. You don't have to reach your goal by December 31st. You could reach it by January 15th. You could reach it next spring. If something isn't turning out in the timeline that you want, you can finish it later. And here's the thing, if there's not more time, if you're going to die tomorrow, then you won't really care that you reached this goal by December 31st. It'll be fine that you got there January 15th or you didn't get there at all. So you might as well embrace the idea that you have more time. You have more time to buy gifts. Maybe you exchange gifts with friends on the 28th or the 30th or on my birthday in June. Maybe you finish your knitting projects like over the holiday week in between December 25th and January 1st. Maybe you stretch out your goal timeline for another 3 months or another year. You still have time to make it happen. Just because it didn't happen this year doesn't mean it won't happen ever. So the goal of your life isn't to cram everything into right now. It's to enjoy the right now, because this might truly be all you have. And if you have more time, then you'll get those things done in more time. Your job is to keep growing and learning and expanding and enjoying the present moment. So let things unfold, let things go. Know you can always do the holiday things you wanted to do in January or February when everybody's really bored. If you wanted to do some Christmas special in your business or Hanukkah special in your business, you can do a special in February for Valentine's Day, or in March for the first day of spring, or like just the winter doldrums anytime in the winter. So this process that we've talked about here, about focusing on what matters, letting go of the rest, planning in a way that lets you enjoy where you are right now and doesn't put all this pressure to get everything done right away. This is the process of building a business and building a life. You're going to have to do this over and over and over. At least I've had to do this over and over, and I think I'm not alone in it. So you got to keep realigning with what you want and where you want to go, because that'll change over time. If you'd like to do this in your business this year in 2019, this is exactly what I guide you through doing in the Starship. If you want to do it with the communities of other makers who are making the same decisions, sharing the reality of expectations and disappointments and working through that, that is what we do in the Starship community. So the program opens December 27th, and in it, I guide you through figuring out what you want in the new year, how to make a plan, an actual plan for your goals, how you can fix your profitability so you can actually reach those money goals, and how to improve your marketing so you can reach more of the right people and hit your goals. You can sign up to learn more about this at tarsviger.com/starshipbiz. Like I said, it opens December 27th this year. It'll then open again in the spring or summer. That's a 3-month Starship program. While you're in there, you get access for 3 months to the Starship community where you can chat with others, get your questions answered by me. It will only be open for a short time. So you want to go to tarsviger.com/starshipbiz to sign up to be notified when it opens. And you can find all the links to everything I talked about, including all those past posts about the holidays, over at tarsviger.com/podcast237. I will include a link to the Starship, everything I mentioned, /podcast237. So thank you so much for listening, and I wish you an enthusiastic, joyful week.